And we are live. Once again, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Coach Cecily, and you are invited to join me in another captivating conversation. If you caught any of my videos earlier, well, then you know I reintroduced a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. That topic is called margin. Margin is the difference between the load that we carry and our capacity to carry that load. It's the difference. Margin is where you will find the resources to be able to handle the unexpected things in life while being able to truly focus on the things that really matter. Y'all, we live in a world that is designed to create addiction, distractions, where we are told that sleep is for suckers, where we say things like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, where hustle and flow, rise and grind. Well, that's the rhythm. That is the norm. Margin is the countercultural response to that. Because y'all, culture will lead to burnout. This is the reason why I'm on here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and one of my favorite topics to discuss is margin. And so what if the secret to truly building a resilient life isn't about pushing through? Isn't about taking a licking so we can keep on ticking. Are those things important? Yes, they are. But what if resilience is more about creating space than it is about doing more? What if a resilient life is less about performance and more about achieving soul rest? Is your soul at rest? I'm going to let that sink in. But before I dive in, you know me, I like to kind of take a pulse of those of you who are down in the listening lounge. Thank you, Dr. Jeanette. I see you. Thank you so much. I will bring you up momentarily. But here's my question to those of you who will catch the replay. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being I feel completely drained and there is no margin in my life. There is no space for life to life, for the unexpected to happen. Or 5, being I feel balanced and I have plenty of margin in areas of my life where it's important. And I'm not just talking about time. Y'all, I'm talking about emotions. I'm talking about finances. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about even introducing new technology, new things into our lives. Sometimes we front load ourselves with those things. On a scale of 1 to 5, where are you? 1, I'm completely drained. If the truth were to be told, Coach Cecily, I'm burnt out and there is no margin in my life for things to happen that I didn't expect to happen. Or 5, yeah, plenty of margin. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling balanced. Where are you on that scale? Drop it in the chat because you know me. I want to know. Y'all, I believe that resilience is the secret to living a life of margin. Resilience is the secret for creating space in our lives. And there are 3 key areas in our lives where we need margin. 1, resilience or margin for our bodies. Our bodies are designed for rhythm. If you look around in the world that we are living in, there is rhythm. There is a flow. If you listen to birds singing, they sing, they chirp with a rhythm. If you observe fish moving through a tank, if you are there long enough, you will observe a rhythm. Our bodies are designed for rhythm, with periods of high performance and rushing. There needs to be an equal balance of deep rest. Without margin for things like quality sleep and proper nutrition and movement, our bodies operate in a constant state of inflammation and stress. And this makes it impossible to handle the unexpected. And even if we do handle the unexpected, chances are we don't handle them well. Number 2, resilience for our minds. Y'all, this constant demand to be on, to do more, to push the limits of our mental and emotional capacity often leads us to push beyond our true capacity to show up as an 8, 9, or 10, to show up as the very best versions of ourselves. Margin allows for our minds to have space to process and reflect and think creatively and strategically. This is where clarity lives. Y'all, clarity lives in the margins, in the space where we have time to reflect and process. And it allows us to be fully engaged in our purpose. Number 3, resilience and margin are necessary for our spirit. What do you mean, Coach Cecily? I mean that without margin, without space, our spiritual health is stifled. Our spiritual well-being can become starved, can become dehydrated, leaving us too tired to pray, too tired to reflect, too tired to even walk outside and enjoy nature, too tired to connect with God, our Creator. Creating space in our lives is a spiritual act of faith. We have to have faith to believe that I don't have to stay up beyond my body's capacity to be able to function well the next day, while trusting that where my performance and my productivity ends, God's provision begins. Trusting in God's provision and in His wisdom is far more powerful than my productivity, than my performance, especially if that takes me beyond my individual capacity to perform well. Yeah. Tonight, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Dr. Jeanette Linder. She is an incredible functional and integrative medicine doctor who empowers entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur, you are in the right place at the right time with the right ones. In fact, you know what? I'm going to bring you up, Dr. Jeanette. So bear with me because y'all, if you caught my live earlier, you know that going live on Facebook is not exactly what I do. But you know what? I'm taking new territory and you are observing it. Dr. Jeanette, I just sent you an invite. I just added you. And so please go ahead and hang in there and wait. And then soon and very soon, you should be able to join me. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, okay. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. I, this has been a long time coming, Dr. Jeanette. Am I right?
Yep.
It has been, but we are here. We are here. Now, are you all set up? Is your camera, everything working? Everything all good?
Everything seems to be good. I'm in this little Airbnb and the Wi-Fi is holding on, so I'm happy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I am super excited to invite you on here tonight, and I believe in giving people their flowers. So, do you mind if I introduce you by reading your bio?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Y'all, I was starting to say before I just got super excited because Dr. Jeanette and I have been trying to go live together and just have a captivating conversation together for a minute. And we have had to toggle through all kinds of obstacles, but we made it. Dr. Jeanette Linder helps people to find holistic wellness by focusing on 5 lifestyle factors: movement, nutrition, sleep, stress management, and connection. And so I'm so excited. And so please allow me to introduce to you Dr. Jeanette Linder, a functional and integrative medicine physician. Her career has always included patient and family centered care combined with the highest quality personalized treatment. Her attention to detail and passion for excellence led her to multiple leadership positions in several large hospital systems. She has managed institutions with $40 million budgets and individual practices. She adapts to the needs of her patients and her loved ones, meeting them where they are. She has cultivated teams with high integrity, passion, stability, and cohesion with impeccable safety, inclusive culture, and dependable work ethic. Dr. Linder has always had an integrative approach to patient care, including strong advocacy for modifying the 5 lifestyle factors of, again, movement, nutrition, sleep, rest, stress management, mitigation, and connection. She has been known to break out the music in the exam room to get her sedentary patients to line dance, which I love, and just do anything to move. Exercise is the #1 anti-inflammatory with the best side effects of metabolic boosting, improved self-esteem, strength, agility, balance, and mental wellness. Her passion is escorting people to holistic wellness while empowering them through their hectic lives. Jeanette practices what she preaches. She has been a devotee of Pilates for 20 years, y'all, to manage hypermobility and for pure joy. She also loves aerial yoga. And is a certified grounded aerial bungee trainer. When she is not in the studio, you can find her on the pickleball court, hiking, biking, quilting, sewing, and cooking. Y'all, please help me by dropping some fire in the chat, in the comment section. Help me welcome Dr. Jeanette Linder. Once again, welcome, Dr. Jeanette. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you feeling, first of all?
I'm great, thanks. I'm very happy to be here, and your intro was right on the money. We're completely aligned.
I love that. And that's one of my favorite words, aligned. Do you mind if I ask you a question before we go any further?
Go for it.
What is epigenetics?
Epigenetics, it's so cool. It's a way to optimize your health despite having genes that might be considered, bad.
Mm,
We are not necessarily our DNA. Of course, the color of our eyes won't change, and we're not going to go from 5'4" to 6'3". But just because you have some bad genes doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to express them. There's some that
mm,
you can't change, but there are a lot that you can improve by working on those lifestyle factors, because our genes have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Wawa, 7-Eleven, Sheets, and sorry, all these companies gonna be mad at me. Instantaneous food and high fructose corn syrup have not.
mm,
And sitting all day because of the work that we do, knowledge
mm,
workers, that means sitting on your rumpus all day. Um, Being in artificial light, having constant scary things told to you through your phones and your TVs and your text or whatever, that's all artificial. And that
mm.
can overexpress genes that don't necessarily have to be like that. So you don't have to be a biochemist or a geneticist to work on epigenetics, but it gets people's attention because you can affect the length of your DNA by taking care of
Mm,
yourself. The shorter it gets, the more aged your body is, the less resilient you are. So if you're really a data fiend and you love that stuff, you can look up telomeres, teloneres. Those are little things at the ends of your DNA that
mm,
kind of give you an idea of how healthy they are. But you don't have to study all that stuff to know that the way you interact with the rest of the world can make you healthier and live
mm,
longer. I mean, we're not talking about 200 years old. I'm not doing that kind of longevity stuff. I'm talking about health span. Your ability to get up and do the dishes and put your suitcase in the overhead rack and carry your groceries up and down the steps and get on the floor with your grandkids or get away from your grandkids or do those things that become really difficult for a lot of people, and their last 10, 15, 20 years can be really hard if they can't do stuff for themselves. And it can also be demoralizing to not be able to get off the toilet by yourself because your legs are too
mm,
weak. So
mm,
so this is about empowering yourself to have a better health span, a longer time where you feel well.
mm. I love that. That was a lot. So you all are going to have to do what I'm going to have to do and catch the replay, because I have a feeling that Dr. Linder is going to drop all kinds of jewels off on us that we may need to go back and take some notes. So Dr. Jeanette, your bio mentions that you have a passion for helping people to find holistic wellness by modifying 5 lifestyle factors, right? So, movement, nutrition, sleep, stress management, and connection. How do you coach or counsel people to shift their mindset from a place of managing a hectic life to one of truly creating space or margin for these 5 factors?
Well, just like everything else in my life, anything I'm good at, I've been really bad at in the past. Not just a little bad, but really bad. So I came from the world of competitive suffering and all-nighters and, the works. And I sort of approached functional medicine like that at the beginning too. I studied, like for 400 hours over the course of a few months. I went crazy. But I learned so much. And then I created this program, was recreating what helped me drop my cholesterol 70 points in 6 months and what helped me figure out how to listen to my body. Some of my patients are like, yo, Jeanette, we don't like to read as much as you do. We don't need every piece of data on earth. And I learned from my patients that I need a variety of ways to teach people. So it's very, very personalized now.
Mm,
And I don't do the same thing with every person. I'll do some basic things. I mean, there's some basic truths out there. But if I gave everybody the same list, I would be
mhm,
recreating stress in a part of their lives where they're coming to me to try to learn to chill out and try to take care of themselves. So we'll start with mini habits and habit stacking. So for instance, I couldn't remember to take my medication. So, how can I give my patients a hard time if I can't remember? So, a mini habit is to put my pills next to my toothbrush because I know I'm going to brush my teeth at night. I'm going to brush my teeth in the morning. So, I take the night pills, put them away, brush my teeth, do the same thing in the morning. Counter's clean, everything's done. I don't miss anymore unless I'm
mm,
on an overnight plane ride, and then I usually still remember. But those little types of things. So putting things together that you already do on a reflexive basis, and then building on that, like my morning routine. I can do it in 10 minutes. I can do it in 45 minutes. But if you'd asked me a couple of years ago to do something for 2 minutes, I would have said, oh no, I don't have 2 minutes. But I built on it until it became positive reinforcement that just made my life so much better. So little bits at a time, manageable, and then people feel good about it instead of feeling like they failed again.
mm. I like that. You said something that really resonated with me. Competitive suffering. Wow, competitive suffering. I wonder how many people realize that they are actually competing, maybe with other people, maybe with the version of themselves that, was, working on something a year ago, and now they want to see if they can push themselves even harder. That competitive suffering it's an interesting concept. Um, and then you talked about manageable habits. So, yeah, I could see how that could begin to shift people's mindsets from feeling like I don't have time to if I do something that's manageable a little bit every day, then maybe I can, shift some things around and move towards wellness. Is that right?
Exactly. And the part about competition, there can be some really good competition. Looking at where
Mm,
you were a month ago and trying to make progress is different from competitive suffering where you're like, I saw 60 patients today and I'm not going to get home till 9 and I'll get 6 hours of sleep on the weekend, but I'll only get 4 hours on the regular weeknights and I'm great. And maybe you're okay at work, but you're not very good at home. So you're suffering maybe for the wrong reason, and actually you're becoming less and less efficient, and you're way more prone to make mistakes. And how can you connect with your family and your friends and your people at work if you're too tired to pay attention? So that's the side of competition that's a problem. And for me, it was part of my family legacy. I was told
mm,
the summer isn't when you get to go on vacation. Then you have time to have three jobs instead of one, between college. So I did. That's what I thought you're supposed to do.
mm.
It paid for college and med school, but you know, that wasn't the healthiest thing. But
Right.
that's what we learned, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's to me a whole topic. That's a whole captivating conversation in itself. This competitive suffering that
Yes.
we can engage in that sometimes is placed upon us by culture, meaning by our family and expectations. So, I think as you mentioned, it can be a good thing and a necessary thing, but it can be a strength. But any strength overused can quickly become a weakness. And so um, that's really interesting how you talked about, how it can be a good thing, but how if we're not careful and if we allow, people to put things on us that may be okay for them, may be well within their personal capacity to do, but for us, it might push us beyond our personal capacity. And now we may be on the road to burnout and creating not only unhealthy habits for ourselves, but then turning around and, transferring those unhealthy habits onto others. And I know I can relate to that as a mother as well as an educator. So really good. But I want to move on to your extensive experience in leadership position, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So, what mindset shifts do you find are crucial for high achieving individuals? Now, we're talking about high achievers, those type A personalities, those people who are in leadership positions where there's always this focus on how can I do better? How do you shift those mindsets to help them to embrace the concept of margin, meaning creating space in their lives for the unexpected, particularly when sometimes their identity is tied to their busyness and their productivity.
Yeah, well, you're talking to somebody whose identity was completely tied to my busyness and productivity and my inability to say no. I mean, that's why I had
Yeah.
five leadership roles at the same time, which I enjoyed, and it also, sucked the life out of me because I didn't have any other time left. So, it's helping them find what's the part that they're the best at and and delegate. I mean, it's about your team. If you're not empowering your team, and I failed at this as well, I didn't delegate enough. And that means that other people lost the opportunity to shine and
Mm,
to rise up the ladder of leadership. And so, um, was it an active selfish plan? No, it just turned out that way because I felt like I had to do it all. And, sometimes I still feel like, oh my God, now I got to be perfect because I'm doing this functional medicine thing. So when you said, what's your margin? I was going to put five, but the truth is right now is a busy season and it's four. And sometimes that's what happens. And, so I think being real and admitting to your team that, I need help with this. It puts trust in them, and then of course it has to be personalized. um Overachievers in particular have a really hard time trusting other people, and when they learn how to do that, then the team gets stronger. And there's a great book
mm,
called Leading for Wellness.
mm,
It's all about setting the example. I set a terrible example for a really, really, really long time. And other people thought they had to, work themselves to the bone, which I feel bad about. But I'm
mhm.
undoing a legacy that goes back multiple generations in my family. I just waited till I was 60 to figure that out, but that's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. And guess what? 60 is the new 40 as far as I'm concerned. So it sounds like you are right on time. And self-awareness. I mean, it's only to the degree that we are self-aware of those areas where, again, I like to put it, we are overusing a strength. Um, the world needs high achievers. The world needs those leaders who can get it done, plain and simple. But a strength overused can become a weakness. And I love how you talked about how high achievers typically struggle with trusting other people, believing that nobody can get it done like them. I can certainly relate to that version of myself. But, as they say, when you know better, you do better. And I didn't know better at that time. I was focused on serving people at the highest capacity possible. And so sometimes that meant not only driving myself hard, but others as well in order to accomplish that goal. So, sounds like we're both learning and growing and becoming the better versions of ourselves that the world also needs. So,
Yeah, working on it.
absolutely, absolutely. So we celebrate that. All right. So you've been known to get sedentary patients to line dance in the exam room, which I have a mental picture in my head that just seems like pure joy breaking out unexpectedly. So, what skill sets do you teach to help people who lack physical activity to find joy and consistency in movement rather than seeing it as a chore?
It's about putting little bits in throughout your day. I mean, if you take a sedentary person and you give them the whole Nike just do it thing, they're going to be demoralized and they're going to be sore and they might
Mm,
not be able to do it the next day. So little bits here and there. And, when they've looked at studies of blood sugar levels of people who move 2 minutes every 30 minutes,
mhm,
or a couple minutes every hour, their blood sugar is actually lower than somebody who does an hour long workout in the morning and then is a knowledge worker sitting on his rump all day long. And so little bits all day long can make a difference. Maybe get up and do a couple squats, or get up and walk around the kitchen, or grab a hula hoop, or put on some music and dance. And, it's not easy to do that, especially when you're busy. But if you recruit a buddy or somebody in your home, it can find little pieces of joy in your life. It's especially good when you do it with someone else.
mhm.
But it has to be personalized. If somebody tells me that they hate this particular thing, I'm not going to mention it. There is value in doing things that you don't like, but not all day, every day, especially when you felt demoralized.
Mm.
You gotta find some joy in there, and that's different for different people. It might be going fishing for somebody.
I love that. So it's about knowing what works for you. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
discovering sometimes you don't know what works until you try it. But
Yeah.
people who are just getting started out have a hard
Hmm.
time launching. So we just kind of try little things and try again. And that's why my program is a long time, because you can't fix 4 decades of sedentary life and poor eating and stress in 3 weeks. You just can't
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm. Hmm. That's so good. So good. So you said finding that one thing that I enjoy and maybe every 30 minutes doing it for 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Doing it
Or
for
do
2 minutes
have a
and
little
recording a
correction.
partner, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And maybe you walk outside and walk around your house or yeah.
Hmm. I love that. So key and critical. I had to do that today. Just had to get out and clear my head. So I love that you mentioned that. All right, so I want to ask you another question. And again, it sort of references your bio, which I read at the top of this segment. Your bio highlights a devotion to activities like Pilates and aerial yoga, which sounds super cool, by the way, beyond formal exercise. And you kind of touched on this, but I want you to go a little deeper. For those, you call them knowledge workers.
Yes, that's the
Okay,
new way of saying people who sit down all day.
okay. So
Sitting in front of a
knowledge
computer.
workers, for
Yeah.
those people, maybe elderly people, people who are sedentary for whatever reason. What simple toolkits or daily practices can people use to build margin into this area of their lives for joy, for quiet moments, for rest? What simple daily practical tacticals can you offer to us?
It could be as simple as going to a different floor of your house to go to the bathroom. And
Mm,
then go into the room that's next to that and sit for a couple minutes and just look out the window or pet your dog or, focus. It stops your eyes from looking 12 inches away to looking out to the horizon, which rests your brain and it calms you down. And this whole process can take a couple of minutes. Or, walking outside to the mailbox a couple times a day. And if you're somebody who's having a hard time getting out of a chair, this is really important because that means you're going to lose your independence pretty soon. So
mm,
work on getting out of the chair. If it's hard, put a pillow on there so it's not as low. Really working on those muscles repeatedly so that you can stay independent for as long as possible. And then when you're ready to get into training, working with the trainer is really awesome. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be someone online. It could be somebody on YouTube. Having somebody show you techniques when you're
mm.
using weights, that's really important. But these are baby steps, but they can be really exciting. Or you just sign up to go line dancing once a week with people. That's joy and movement at the same time and connection.
Yes, I went line dancing during the summer with one of my fiance's aunts, who is in her 70s, I believe, and had hip replacement surgery, back surgery, I believe. And there she was line dancing in a gym filled with people of every age range, all age ranges, male, female, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I felt so energized and I felt a little convicted, Dr. Jeanette, because I don't do that regularly. So it took someone who's older than me to just remind me that knee replacement surgery, back surgery, and all, we still have to find ways to move and find ourselves in community or that connection. And do it consistently. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
love
I
that.
don't want to lead with fear, but I have a lot of relatives with dementia. My mother died with Alzheimer's. I mean, like 7 relatives have died with it. It's absolutely terrible. And the best thing that you can do to reduce your risk is move.
Mm.
I mean, that's super important.
Super important. Oh my gosh. You know, sometimes fear, is bad. But there is a healthy form of fear that we all need. So I would love for you to go a little deeper in that topic in terms of, what happens when we, especially as we get older, what happens when we stop moving? Because I've been told, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that our bodies were not meant to be sedentary, that in fact, when we become sedentary, the body not only atrophies, but begins to think, okay, it's time to die. But a body in motion is thinking, what's next? Is that right? Or can you tell me?
Yeah, that's actually what I've been telling my patients for years, just in different words. When you move or don't move, you're biochemically sending messages to the rest of your body.
Mm,
So, our bodies were meant to go out and hunt and gather and fetch water and do stuff all day long. So if you're sedentary, your body thinks that food and water are scarce, and your
mm,
metabolism shuts down, and every Oreo sticks right to your thighs, and you get depressed because you're not clearing out all these chemicals running through your body, because you
mhm.
have like stress hormones coming out.
Yeah.
So if you want to move, you send a message to your body that you're alive and you intend to stay that way. It
Mhm.
initially causes a little bit of inflammation, which is what you need to grow muscle, but then there's a bigger surge of anti-inflammatory cytokines. Those are just chemicals that are talking from cell to cell. So the anti-inflammatory stuff is going out there. And that also cleans your brain, which makes you happier. And it also uses up glucose. So even if you're diabetic and you don't have enough insulin, your muscles, when they're really being used, can use glucose in a way that does not require insulin. So then you can get your blood levels down, which makes you sleep better and it makes you happier and it reduces inflammation around your body. And you don't get up at night to go to the bathroom as much quite often. And there's so many things. It is possible to overdo the exercise, but that is not what most people suffer from.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that would be a problem, but maybe a good problem for some of us to strive towards. I don't know, but I really appreciate what you just said, and hopefully, someone under the sound of our voices will take heed and get a trainer, as you mentioned, and or find a YouTube video or something on TikTok. I mean, the content out there that is free and accessible is amazing,
Yeah,
actually.
just
So
just turn on music and dance in the kitchen.
just turn on music and dance. I love that. I love that. Dr. Jeanette, may I ask you one more question that is actually my hot seat question?
Sure.
Okay, okay. Because what you've shared has been incredibly insightful so far, but I just have to ask you a hot seat question. All right, so you've dedicated your career to helping people achieve holistic wellness. For someone who feels stuck in the relentless cycle of busyness and believes that they do not have time for the very practices that you have recommended here tonight, what again is one small, powerful permission that they must give themselves to begin creating margin and to begin to truly live? One small, powerful permission that such a person would need to give themselves.
You don't have to be perfect. It's not
Mm,
possible to be perfect. And by the way, the more you push yourself, the less perfect you're going to be. I mean, whoever has hit reply all and regretted it, you're way more likely to do that when you're tired or you're hangry You can't take those things back from the universe, right? You could break some bad relationships with a reply all to the wrong person. I've done it. So that they just feel that they have to do everything, and really, it's not wise. It's going to ultimately shorten their lifespan. And I saw a really great cartoon, which is super mean. I wish I could find it again. It has a doctor saying to a patient, "So you don't have time to exercise every day. Do you have time to be dead all day?" I mean, it's mean, but it's a fact. If you don't move, you're not telling your body to stay alive. Period. End.
Period. End. If you don't move, then you're not telling your body to stay alive. That's a bar, Dr. Jeanette. That is a whole tweet. Okay. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You have given us a fresh perspective on not just resilience, not just what it really means to bounce back greater, but on what it means to live. I mean, a quality life, a life worth living and not just existing. You've helped us to think proactively about building margin, not just into the aspects of our lives, but into our lives, into longevity, right? That's space, to actually live and enjoy the days that we have to live. So, I just want to thank you. Your message is invaluable from the first time that we talked and you invited me into your studio and I got to see your quilting equipment and what you do. I'm sure just to relax and to keep yourself busy and maybe even a way to serve people that you love by creating quilts. But I just want to thank you once again. I want to tell you that I already intend to invite you back, so please just
Thank
expect
you.
that request. I do have to ask, what is next for you, and where can people find you?
So what's next for me? I had no idea. You know how Apple makes products that you didn't know you need? So I was speaking on a health panel at a great conference, Women Elevating Women, which is coming up in Chicago in October, and it's amazing. And it was all about similar things that we talked about and competitive suffering and all of that. And this vivacious woman comes up to me afterwards and she said, "You were speaking directly to me. I've been looking for a wellness partner. We must work together." She's a career strategist. And I'm like, okay. So she is phenomenal. And so we are helping women to lead boldly while building health and joy, because she found that all of her folks she was coaching for career strategy all had health and wellness struggles. It was one or the other. And, there really is no such thing as balance, but there's harmony. Just like sometimes there's more treble than bass, and sometimes they're more bass than treble. It can still sound good. It's a way to do it without losing yourself and your family, your relationships, your health, and all that. So that's my other world. So that's lancelinder.com. And we are actually, our next workshop, we're going to be recording. So you get a little discount for doing that. And then my private practice is for Maryland, Ohio, California, and Pennsylvania. I'm in the process of adding Georgia and Florida because I've had requests there. That's drjeanettelinder.com, and I'm redoing that website. That's a pretty terrible website, so it'll be done in a couple of weeks.
Wow, y'all follow Dr. Jeanette Linder. Go to her website that she just mentioned and explore. I plan to explore her website because I would love to connect. It has been my goal ever since my coach talked about getting a functional doctor. Yeah, it's a goal of mine, a health and wellness goal to connect with a functional doctor so that I can enjoy my remaining days on this earth. In fact, I'm believing that my remaining days will be better than my latter days. So yeah. find Dr. Jeanette Linder. To my amazing audience, I hope that you have enjoyed this captivating conversation. I hope that you feel inspired to not only create margin in your life, which again is that space so that life can happen unexpectedly and not totally throw you off the edge because you didn't plan for it. Just like we leave time to go to the airport, make our way through security and all of that, we need space in areas of our lives so that we can handle life when it begins to life. And so, yeah, I hope that you will review this video and take notes and take heed to some of the things that have been shared here tonight. Let's keep the conversation going, okay? For those of you who are down in the listening lounge, I want to thank you once again for pivoting with me away from Instagram onto Facebook. Y'all, this is new territory for me, so thank you so much. If you have found anything that has been shared here tonight, please go ahead and share this video with a friend. Don't gatekeep. Share this with someone. I'm sure we all know someone who has become prone to a sedentary life, who needs to be inspired, we'll say, okay, to move, to get their body moving, to connect with people, healthy people, people who are moving, people who are living a life that we want to live for ourselves. I mentioned my fiance's aunt, her name, well, Aunt Mildred, yeah, she just is an inspiration to me because she moves. And all of my fiance's aunts are an inspiration to me, but his aunt took me, actually, Aunt Mary, she took me line dancing with her. And I just wanted to thank her for helping me to realize that you're never too old to find something that is enjoyable and that creates community, accountability, because with community does come a measure of accountability. And those are two differentiators, community and accountability. Y'all know I like to talk about that too. So if you don't know, where have you been? Please share this video. Follow me on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel under my entire government name, Cecily Denise Cooper, and follow me on Spotify. I will soon be having some new episodes dropping there. My Spotify account is called Beyond the Bounce Back, How Setbacks Unleash the Inner Visionary. And so follow me there. Y'all join me back here on Facebook next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may have Dr. Jeanette with me. You never know. But please follow me and continue to be resilient, continue to create margin in your life, continue to bounce back greater. My name is Coach Cecily, and it is my greatest life's pleasure to be able to help as many women as possible to be able to bounce back from a setback so that you can get back your God-given impact, influence, and income. And one of the ways that I do that is by appearing before you here or on Instagram with amazing guests like Dr. Jeanette Linder. And we aim to equip you in the area of your mindset, your skill sets, your toolkits, so that you can be, do, and have all that you were created to be, do, and have. Dr. Jeanette, thank you once again for joining me. I wish you a good night.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.